Okay, first thing we got to do to take the front tire off is get the bike up in the air on a jack stand, and then we're going to remove the brake caliper first. Okay, be real careful with this. Okay, once you get the brake caliper off, you're going to tie it out of the way so that it doesn't scratch any paint. We're going to mark our spacer, what side it is. So this is going to be the left side, and put an arrow pointing the direction that the spacer needs to face. Okay, now we're going to take off the axle nut. And the washer. Okay, then we're going to remove the slider cap fasteners. Actually, we're not going to remove them, we're just going to loosen them. This will allow you to pull the axle free. I lowered the bike a bit to get some of the weight off the front tire. And then we can continue to pull through and remove the axle all the way. Okay, then you're going to move the tire around enough to pull the cover off. Then you're going to just jack it up enough to roll the tire out from the front of the bike, or close to the front so you can lean it out and get your front tire out. There you go, there's your front tire. Okay, so we got our tire back. We had it mounted and balanced by a shop. We also had the spokes adjusted and the wheel trued. Now we got to prepare the wheel. This is the front tire for reinstallation onto the motorcycle. First thing we have to do is I cleaned the axle. I also cleaned the inner bore and the bearing bore, and just to get all the old anti-seize lubricant off. Then we're going to take some anti-seize lubricant and reapply it before we put all this back together. So I'm using an anti-seize stick. It's same thing, it just prevents this from locking up inside of the bore. So we're going to put the anti-seize on the axle, the bearing bore, and the bore of the inner sleeve. So that's all the way through here. Might be hard to get in there. You can get different types of anti-seize. This is what I have, so I'm going to use it. I'm going to just wipe this on the axle. It says a light coat. You don't have to go crazy with it. Because once it starts turning, this is going to get moved around on there and provide it with the anti-seize lubricant it needs to do the job. Okay, so there you go. This is ready for reinstallation. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the tire up under the fender and just set it into place. Now I'm going to go ahead and lower the bike. I'll have to have some help with that because I need somebody to hold this tire up when I straighten the handlebars. And we're going to lower it down to where the fork is pretty close to this, so we don't have to try to lift the tire up as far. The other thing I want to mention is don't wash this blue cover off until you get done mounting this, because if you have anything on your fingers, the blue will protect your white wall and you won't have to scrub so hard to get any grease or deposits that you might put on that nice new white wall. Okay, so what we're going to do is I've got the fork straightened out, and Margaret's just going to hold the tire into place. We're going to slowly lower the bike until we get the hole for the axle that goes to the forks and into the inner bore somewhat close, so we don't have to lift the weight of that tire up to put it back on. Okay, before you get too far, you're going to put your hub cap, your hub spacer, and your hub retaining ring back into the bike. Now we didn't have to take this apart. There's a snap ring in here that holds it all together. It just came off. But this is basically your spacer for the right side of the bike. So you're going to take your hub spacer, stick it in there, put your axle in, that'll hold it up. Okay, you're going to have to look in from the left side and look down through there. And then you're going to lift the wheel until you get it to go through. And once you get it to the other side, you're going to want to be sure that you put your spacer back in This spacer is marked left with an arrow, so that means it goes this way. We're going to put our spacer in next. Okay, so you can see my axle sticking out a little bit. I'm going to have to back it up some to get the spacer in. Put the spacer in the correct direction. Then you may have to lift the wheel up. Push it through to the other side. At this point, the wheel is on the axle and it's not going to come off. Okay, when you get ready to tighten this, you're going to have to make sure you have a screwdriver or something in the axle on the other side so it doesn't spin on you. On a 2013 Softail Deluxe, the torque spec is 70 to 75 foot-pounds. Whatever bike you're doing this on, you need to refer to your service manual to get the right torque specification. So holding that, you come to the other side and torque until you get it, until it clicks. There you go. That's 73 pounds. Okay, the next step in the process is to tighten the slider cap. This is tightened from, on this bike, 132 to 180 inch-pounds. Now, what you're supposed to do on this is as you tighten this slider cap, you want to make sure that it's aligned and it's even all the way around. You don't want it to be offset. It will pretty much just fall directly into place, but you do want to check that. There you go. I've got my torque rate set to about 155 pounds. So that's right in between the 132 and 180. So I don't have a major gap, or it's straight on both sides, so my slider cap is on there correctly. Now we've got to put the brake caliper back on. So carefully remove it from the engine guard, if you have one. Should slide right back on pretty easily. Position it. Long bolt goes on the top. Get it set. Short bolt goes on the bottom. And then make sure you tighten it to spec according to your service manual. The 2013 Harley Davidson Softail Deluxe without anti-lock brakes, which is what we're working on, is 28 to 38 foot-pounds. Okay, lastly, to finish off the front wheel, is you want to pump your front brake to push the pistons in the brake caliper back out and seat them against the brake disc.